Welcome to How to Fingerprints. It's been quite a long time since I uploaded that first video talking about the basics on how to compare fingerprints, but I thought I'd get back into this channel, upload some more stuff, and for this video today I thought I'd take a look at 3 fingerprints, work through comparisons on them, and kind of talk through what I'm doing as I go. So I hope you guys like the video here today. So without further ado, we'll get into this image here. Again, I'm using Photoshop to mark these up. I have a layer that I'll be putting all the minutia on, and those will go on at least at first in 3 different colors. Green will be minutia that I see pretty clearly. That's I'm 98% sure is going to be there in the exemplar print right as I see it. Yellow, some distortion is there, and it may not be exactly correct. I may have to move it a little bit, or it may not be a minutia, maybe 25% of the time. And red, 50-50 chance that what I see in the latent print is actually going to be there in the exemplar. So I'll go through and talk out. The first step, as always, is to analyze the unknown print or the latent print or the mark. So I'm going to start here near the delta. You can see this is that Y shape in this area. Over on this side, it looks to be kind of a core off to this side of the screen. And I think this is a finger, and that this is the correct orientation, that this is mainly the top of the finger, is the top of the image, and we have a lot of information on the left side of the finger. If you look in the background, you see these kind of light lines here, off here as well. Kind of indicates that the finger was moving across the surface, or some movement as the finger slid down across the surface, stopped here, and left this impression. So let's look at the minutia itself. So I'll start by marking the delta itself. I think there's this Y shape right here. And then as I come down, I see a minutia here and here. Coming back underneath, those are both ridge endings. I think I see a bifurcation right about here. So this one splits into these two. And then right underneath that, maybe another ending right here. So as I kind of come out to the left, I see another ridge ending right about here, another bifurcation right about there. So kind of continue on now, coming up above the delta. I see another. Well, this one's hard to tell whether this is the ending or if this connects here and is a bifurcation, but I'll mark it as an ending for now, and then we'll see how that compares to what the exemplar reads. As always, it's not, you can't always tell, and there's not always a right answer as to whether it's an ending or a bifurcation. Even if you looked at the skin itself, it's often really hard to tell what's an ending and what's a bifurcation, because this isn't just like a woodcut. This is a complex 3-dimensional shape, your finger, and the ridges are the parts that stick up the most, and the furrows are the parts that hang, that are lower. But it's it's not just a binary thing, or 1 or a 0. That ridge that goes up, and the furrow that goes down, they can vary in height. So sometimes you'll see something that looks separate, so that you'd think it's a ridge ending. But other times, if you push harder, that little shoulder off of between the furrow and the ridge can touch, and then all of a sudden it looks like a bifurcation instead. So continue to mark on some more minutia here, coming all the way out to the left-hand side. This is getting a little light to see, but I'm pretty confident in a lot of these minutia. Many in green, but some in yellow. I'm jumping around a lot, so hopefully everyone can keep up with where I'm looking. But as you go through and mark a bunch of stuff, you do want to kind of come back through to see what else you might have missed. Looks like we have a little dot down here. So I'm going to mark that on either side of this dot to see if it actually shows up there. All right. Now you can see part of what I'm doing is I'm moving the cursor back and forth. What it helps me do is it's called running the ridges. It's looking at the ridges as I go to see where a ridge will start or stop or split or join back up with another ridge. But I'm also looking at more than one ridge at a time, like 3 or 4 ridges at a time, to see if I lose a ridge and then something else shows up in its place. If like the other ridges are on either side of it, move in to fill in that space. Because when that happens, that's really clear that that you have a minutia there. So like if I'm looking at these 3 ridges, I run along, I'm only down to 2, and the ones on the outside have come together as this one stopped to fill in the gap that one left by stopping. Oh, here's a nice little island enclosure there. A lot of these things have, besides dot and ending and bifurcation, some other kind of unofficial names, like island or eye or handshake. This would be this is an island, here's or a short ridge. It can be called an eye. These are all just kind of unofficial names to help the examiner remember what they're seeing when they go to search for it in the exemplar. So speaking of the exemplar, I think it is time to bring in the ones that we're going to compare against. So here is the 10 print card that we're going to compare today. Move our swatches over a little bit. Very important that they're at the same ratio, 100% for both images. So I'm going to go here to, well, actually, now that I think about it, this image was scanned in at half of the resolution, so I need twice the ratio here so that it's actually the same size. So now what I'm going to do is actually start looking for these same features here. I'm going to start around the delta because that's a really obvious place that stands out in any fingerprint. I'm going to look for things that have this general shape of a loop that goes to the right with a core that's to the right of the delta. And for these minutiae here. So I'll have a delta with that comes down and stops with an ending, and then underneath that another bifurcation and ending. So these 4 here is what I'm going to be really searching for at first. So coming over here, well, it's not quite the same here in the middle as I had it marked, but again, you kind of have to give it some leeway as to how things can look a little bit different. So if I could imagine this being here, and I come down to see an ending here, down to see an ending here. Skip 1 ridge to 2 for that one. Skip 1 ridge to 2 for this one. Comes back in with an ending. Okay, so far this is actually looking pretty good. This doesn't quite look right, but let me come up this way instead. So from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, something sitting right in here. And then this one, yeah, I can kind of see it there. So I think this is actually pretty good. And also this crease that comes right across here underneath the delta. You can see it's this white gap that goes, underneath the ridges. You notice I didn't mark any of these as minutia because I can see that the ridges go straight through. And even though the crease kind of erases the ridge for a second, the ridge goes through, and the ones on either side don't move in to fill this ridge ending. So the ridge must actually go underneath the crease and go through it like that. And this appears to be this one right here. So I'm going to give this one a shot and see what I can do. So let me move a couple of these things out of the way. And I'll need this open so I can switch back and forth between the pencil and the eraser. So let's get started. I'll start with Well, I need to change this, since it's half the size, to about, there we go. All right, so ending comes there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little tough to see in there, but I can see a ridge there, and see another little dot thing here, another ridge on this side. So I'm pretty confident that that is the same thing going on there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2. It looks like 3 is how this one's marked. So what I'll do is come back through and remark this one a little bit further over as a, just moved it half a ridge over to be an ending instead of a bifurcation. So then 1, 2, 3 for an ending there. 1, 2, yep, there it is, 3 for an ending there. And then 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, there it is. So even though, like this example here, I moved it half a ridge because the distortion wasn't exactly clear here, and I got a better image of it here. If that is, what's happening through every minutia through the entire print, and I'm having to move and adjust it quite a bit, that's going to go into my decision-making process as to whether or not I'm going to reach an identification decision or not. But if it happens just a couple times and then everything else is actually there, then that is that's how things work when comparing fingerprints, and just happening once or twice, or even maybe even just for a quarter of the minutia. If you have enough minutia, these little differences where your analysis was slightly off are overwhelmed by the number of corresponding minutia. So we'll go here, come back from this one. 1, 2, and 3 for an ending. 1, 2, there it is. And then these two come together there. So this minutia is actually in the wrong spot. It's quite a bit far off, but I'll erase this one and I'll move it back down to here. A little bit of distortion there made it unclear as to exactly where it is, but this, I can see that is a better place for it. Now, same thing with this one. It's not right in the middle where all 3 ridges meet. This point is actually going to be ending right here, which is right about there. And now I can see better that this ridge comes and splits into 2 here. Splits into 2 here. Well, actually there's an ending here in the middle, which would be this ridge. So that's one that I didn't see because I had it marked differently. So I'm going to use orange to mark this one, because I didn't see it in my initial analysis. I only saw it upon seeing the exemplars. And it's not just a little bit of movement over, it's a whole new point that I'm putting down. Again, this all goes into that evaluation at the end, and if everything is full of orange points, then that's not going to be enough to reach an identification decision. But if it's only a couple, and I have a lot more of other information, then that is going to be sufficient to reach that identification decision. So here are a couple more green points that lined up, and these yellows are also there, one there, and this one's actually up higher, so I'm going to again erase this one and move it up to here. All right, switch to green, and there's now this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's that one. Down and to the right. So you just went one down and over to the right. There it is. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. There that one is. Here's this little short ridge. Let's see if it's there. 1, 2, third ridge. 1, 2. Yep, there it is. It's a little smaller in the exemplar here, but it sure is there. I kind of covered it with the points, but you guys saw it. All right, so coming over this way, this ridge moves to the left and joins in with the one underneath it. Here it more ends, so let's mark it as an ending instead. All right, and then the one underneath that comes and ends again. Sure enough, there it is. See, this one comes along, keeps going, this one comes along, keeps going, this one stops, and these two come closer together to fill in the gap. And then there's that yellow one right underneath it. So skip one ridge to the second, skip one ridge to the second. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sure enough. And that crease is right there underneath it. Goes all the way underneath the delta, and sure enough, there it is. Goes all the way across. So we're looking pretty good right now. But let's keep going to see how much we can get. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, here we go. So here's a little different. So I had it marked like this, but it's actually going to have another ending here to make it a short ridge, and then this ridge comes up underneath it, and it creates another ending here. So again, we'll switch to orange to mark the other side here, and this one, which is going to be the other side here, and then this one. You know, again, with the little bit lower quality in the latent, it wasn't obvious that was happening, but it does still match up. Everything still counts together when seeing a clear view of it here in the latent. So back to yellow. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's that one. Go all the way up to the green one. So the top ridge of the yellow one should run into the bottom of the green. And sure enough, right there, the bifurcation's in a little blank spot, but you can see two, well, like even all 4 ridges here, and then as you go up, there's only 3. So we know that that one had to come together to form that bifurcation there. Back to yellow, we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 come together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I see what happened here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's another crease right here, and this one comes down, keeps going through the crease. This one comes down, goes through the crease. You can see if you look at a group together, we're not losing anything. And that's what's happening here. This was a mistake. This should have gone through down to this one. This should have gone through down to this one. But the crease, which still matches up with this crease, made it look like a bifurcation when there wasn't one. So we've got one that will erase, and because there's nothing actually happening here. So instead, from this one, let's go all the way up to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I like it when you count a lot. It's much more specific, like a unique point when it's really far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect, right there. Coming down, we have the 2 bifurcations, and sure enough, there they are. It's another very specific set of minutia that really helps in providing sufficiency for your identification decision. I think most of the rest are in yellow, if not all of them, so we'll come back down to here, go up 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then we have the short ridge right there. And then going down 1 to these 2 coming together, down 1, these 2 come together. All right, I think that's everything. We have quite a bit of minutia marked. First level pattern flows very nicely in the same form. All these second level minutia are also there. Third level detail, when available, does also correspond, but there's not a whole lot because it's not the highest quality of latent print. It's kind of a medium quality, and even the exemplar print doesn't have is also kind of a medium quality for an exemplar. But all in all, there is quite a bit. There's overly sufficient information to call this one an ID. All right, so let's move to the next example that I have here today. Here we go. We have a tip of a finger. So your fingers generally make this nice oval shape. Down here we have the core, this nice recurve, which indicates that this is near the middle of the finger, and then this is up here at the tip. So go through, start marking some minutia. Lots of green ones that stand out as really obvious. Oh, I lost my, there it is. All right, I should go in order here. So let's start at the top, work our way down, running these ridges. Ooh, something's going on in here, I think. So I'm going to mark a red one there, because I see two, these 4 ridges going to come down to 3. So I think there's something there. This looks like 2 things right next to each other. Like this ridge bifurcates, and then this one comes and ends. So I'm going to put them red though, because they're kind of close to the edge, and it could just be that nothing's happening. So in situations like this, where you have the same 3 ridges here and 3 ridges here, it could be that 2 things are happening, opposite directions, or that no things are happening, 0. Got a little bit of some 3rd level incipient ridges through here. So I'm going to mark these in yellow and put just a couple things, that these are just tiny half-formed ridges in the live in the furrow. They seem pretty clear here in the latent print. It's a pretty good area of the latent print, but it may not be in the exemplar, because sometimes you have to push harder for those incipients to actually touch the surface and come out and be visible. A couple more bifurcations there, and ending here. This almost looks like it crosses over, like there's a Z in here. So I'm going to do a yellow, because again, it may just be nothing going on in between, but I think that there might be something here and here. Oh, and another point here. I think this comes over and bifurcates down into these 2. A little tough to see because it's right in an area where you have some movement. You see all these swishes here. Looks like the finger was twisting slightly when it was lifted off the surface. Let's bring up our exemplar now. Alright, so we need to get to 200%. And we'll be moving around, looking again above the core for these. So what I'm going to be looking for here is I'm looking for this one, this ending coming up right underneath the core. And then if I go to the left, I got 1, 2, a bifurcation, 1, 2, another bifurcation going up. So these 3, they're green, they're right next to the core. They should be easy to spot. So here, no, I'm not seeing any of those things. There's no ending here. It might be this point right here in the core, but I don't see then the bifurcation off to the side. So this is the right thumb. I'll go down and look at the left thumb next. Again, this is too high up in the core. And then moving off to the left, there's no bifurcation. So then to the left index finger. Well, this looks a little more promising. I have an ending here, well, 2 of them, but then coming this way, here's a bifurcation coming down and a bifurcation coming up. So I think this is a good one to actually give a shot with. We'll switch to green and pencil and change the size, and we're off. Okay, so if this is the 3 minutia that match up as the target group that we were searching for, let's keep going and see what we can do. So coming up from that 3rd one, we got what looked like a Z, and sure enough, I see that crossover Z right there. So far, so good. And another ending here. Coming off to the left from that point 1, 2, another bifurcation coming down, and there it is. And right here, as it come up from that middle of our first 3, it opened back up again into another bifurcation. And coming up, well, it's kind of doing a lot of stuff, but that is one of them. Coming down from there, just above here was another ending. And it's not there, but you notice we have something here instead. So what I'm going to do is try counting underneath. So from here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sure enough, that's where that is. So this point is what I need to move a little bit. It's really should be more like here instead. Again, it's kind of a mess of like 6 ridges coming together, so it's hard to clearly mark like you can with the other ones. Notice right here, you can even have a little nubbin poking out of the edge of the print. 1, 2, the third one to the right of our first point. Sure enough, there something is. It's not really a whole lot to hang your hat on, but it still is another consistency between these two prints. All right, so back up to our topmost one. We'll go up to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 come together for bifurcation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yep, right there. Oh, wrong color. Let's do green. There we go. All right, out to the side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do 7, and I'll move this one slightly in as an ending instead. All right, so then coming up, you can see we don't have the top part of the print. Let's keep going with what we have to see what else we can find. So back from here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and oh, we're kind of in the mess again here. Even with this one, down 1, over to the right, we're in the mess. But what we can do is temperate cards generally have 2 recordings of each finger. So this was the left index. Let's go down to the left index right here. So just to kind of get bearings, here is this minutia right here, and I'll even mark our Z right there. So let's see if we can get out to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, sure enough, it's there. And then up to come together there. Up to come together, and it starts to get messy here in this area. And that's it. We don't have anything else. So now we have to take a look at what we have, see if we missed anything, and see what we can do with the information that we have without this whole section up here at the top, since it's not in this recording up here. So I think I can see one more thing I want to look at is right here. I didn't notice this during analysis, but I think I see something else going on right here. If I come down and go up 1, if I come down and go up 1, yep, there it is. Okay. And I think that's everything. So what I'm going to do is just kind of scan through the areas that I have marked here in the exemplar, just to make sure there's nothing else going on that would be then different, because there's nothing else going on really in any of this stuff, anything different than what's going on in here. And no, this is, everything that's there is there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green points, 4 yellow, and an orange, which is then 12 total. So now we have to complete this evaluation to see if it's enough to reach this identification decision. And in my opinion, there is. The minutiae are specific enough, like the Z here, and the far distance going from the core all the way out to this minutia, with everything counting correctly and no minutia in this middle area. And even the one that we can count, that's this one here. I didn't even count. I forgot to count that one. So 13. That's not present here, but it's present on the other plane impression of this finger on the temprint card. So with everything there being in alignment, no differences, I think the information that's present here is still sufficient for this one also to reach an identification decision. All right, last one, number 8 here. switch over to this one here. We'll start again, as always, just looking at the latent print. So again, we have a right slant loop. The delta, it looks like it's off the edge over here. We have the core, and that's pretty clear. We've got lots of information. And the core looks like it has all sorts of strange shapes and bifurcations and endings and all sorts of stuff. So change the size back again and start here. So we've got a short ridge and then a bifurcation. I think that's clear enough to see all three minutiae there. I'll switch over to yellow for these incipients, and then back to green for two bifurcations right in a row. So we go from 1 to 3 ridges right there. I think this looks like some people call it an X or a bow tie or an X-wing. But I think we have these two ridges coming together for one bifurcation, and they split right back apart for another bifurcation there. So back to green, another ending, 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 bifurcation, ending, ending, ending. Some more little incipients. Okay, ending, bifurcation, bifurcation. Back to green for another ending, ending, ending. Boy, if we find this one, I think we're going to be set. Bifurcation, ending, 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 ending. Oh, we're getting close to the edge, but I see another bifurcation, another ending, another ending. All right, we did pretty good here. Even if there's a couple that I missed, well, I will pick them up as orange points, but still, we have so much information that that we should be good to reach a decision. So here we'll start. Here we'll start with these minutiae right to the left of the core, and then some incipients, and then this guy. I really like these bifurcations go from 1 to 3. So the first thumb here doesn't look too promising, but we're not going to skip it just because the pattern doesn't match. That's a mistake that can lead to errors, because sometimes distortion can twist it and make it look like a different pattern. So again, we'll just make sure. Well, here is two bifurcations right next to each other. Here's some of those incipients, but I don't have this whole shape right in here. I don't have this X going on. So it's worth a look. We'll go down to the other thumb. Again, we're going the wrong way, but I'm gonna just try to take a look to see. Nope, there's nothing here on the left side of the core. Nothing here that would indicate any of these minutiae corresponding. So the left index finger now, same thing, take a look. Nope, it's not going to be that one. The right index, going to go the wrong way, but we'll take a look. No, I'm not seeing those minutiae lining up. All right, right middle finger. Oh boy, here we go. I see short ridge, bifurcation, incipients. Yep, I think we have ourselves a winner. Let's start working through it. So again, we'll start off with the ones I was looking for. Those 3, and then those 2. Switching over to mark some incipients here. Those all look nice. Here's our X-wing. Oh, totally missed that one because it was so smudgy. But we got an orange point that we can mark right there. Back into green, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1, 2 down, 1, 2 down, 1, 2, 3 back up, There we go. Boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. All sorts of minutiae. I'll finish off the green ones first. It looks like we're doing very nicely here with this print. Oh, now some more oranges. This looks like a big mess, where this one comes through straight, this one comes through straight, but you can kind of see an S shape in there. And sure enough, that is what's going on there and there. So we have an ending here and an ending here. Again, that makes sense though, because I went from thinking it was just straight ridges with 0 events to same number of ridges on either side, but 2 events happening, because they're going opposite directions, so they kind of cancel each other out. All right, back to yellow for some more incipients. Everything's counting very nicely. Just the second ridge underneath that one is here. 2 more ridges down is that one. 3 more ridges down, 1, 2, 3 is this set. So that should be more of a bifurcation there. And then coming along to another ending right there. Finishing off some more yellows. We have this bifurcation, that ending, and this ending. So that one was pretty good. All sorts of this craziness in here. There's even some more minutiae that you can hunt through and find right here in the core. You can see how a lot more clearly how jumbled it is in here. But each one of these little wiggles and ridges and just craziness happening in here is very specific and unique to this print, especially when combined with all the information that's around it. With, I mean, well over 20 points here, we well enough have sufficiency for an ID. So thank you guys very much for watching me compare these 3 prints. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope to continue this on. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're a latent print examiner, if you're a 10 print examiner, or you just have some interest in forensic science and have always wondered how this whole fingerprint thing works. I'll see you guys next time.